Aloha! Welcome to another episode of Omens, and coincidentally, I just checked my channel. This is officially the 999th video that I have done. One more video and it'll be 1,000. There's probably more than that because there's been videos that I've taken down or set to private or, whatever it may be. But officially listed on my channel is 999 videos. Coming up on a decade's worth of work. Thank you all so much for your support. The Omens segment has been very popular by people, especially given that the world is in decline. Weird things are happening across the world, from humans to the animal kingdom to powerful weather and strange weather patterns, extreme weather that's happening in the world across. So in this segment, we cover a lot of that so that we can be vigilant, so that we can be informed and listen to Mother Nature so that she can answer the question, when will it come? When is the next reset? When's the next cataclysm to strike? How close are we? That's what this segment's all about. Good to see everybody in the chat. I was just over at JWTV's channel. We had a good little presentation together, so shout out to JWTV. I will be doing I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a new segment in the future. 2 new segments, actually. One is going to be truth and music, and the other one's going to be a segment where I have guests come onto my channel. Many people have, had guest recommendations and wanted other people to be a guest on my channel. I think that's something I'm going to look into. All right, well, so without further ado, on my website, JayDreamerZ.com, I have a tab called Omens, where you can share your omens, pictures and videos, or just things that you've seen on the internet. I may share it, I may not, it all depends. But this one I will be sharing with you. We're going to start off with this volcano and lightning coming up out of the volcano. I find this to be a particular interest because in my theories, my different theories, but especially focusing on the plasma apocalypse, I talk about what I call plasma volcanoes, which essentially is whenever ionized gases erupt from within the earth and they shoot up and they become electrified through their rushing through the cavernous systems and static electricity and whatnot, and they become plasma and they burst out of the tops of these types of mountains, volcanoes. They also come out of cave entrances and just cracks and fissures in the ground, but they shoot up into the sky and they create pillars of light that in the old world, in what I call our ancient Oblivion, these pillars looked like they were holding up or propping up the sky to keep it from falling down, because the optics in our atmosphere changed a bit with the introduction of a vapor canopy, and that created a lens effect that made it look like everything up there in the heavens, the luminaries, and even the firmament itself was much closer. So people had a legitimate fear that the sky would fall on them, but they were protected by these pillars, these poles of electricity that shot up from these cavernous openings, just like you see here in this volcano, a lightning volcano or a plasma volcano. This is just a small example. With the conditions that we have and experience in the world today, with a decreased electromagnetic atmosphere in comparison to that where it used to be, for example, like during the Dark Ages, whenever the atmosphere was electrically charged, the world across. And that electrically charged atmosphere, it knocks over all these different dominoes. It provides many different implications the world across. So as you can see here, somebody took all these pictures of the volcano erupting lightning. Like, this is so cool. Oh, this was sent to me. Who was this sent by? Benjamin out of Missouri. So thank you. Hats off to Benjamin out of Missouri. Thank you so much. If you have an omen that you'd like to share with me, go to JayDreamerZ.com, click on my Omens tab, and there you can upload videos and pictures and articles and other things too that are relevant to what's going on in the world today. We're going to switch gears now, and we're going to go over to the headlines. I'm going to get the headlines popped up. High five to everybody in the chat. Good to see everybody. Welcome to the show. Now we're going to start off here. We're going to jump around all over the place, and I have a special surprise at the end. A special surprise. This article says Missouri Department of Conservation warns not to harm bryozoans if you see the creatures at the Lake of the Ozarks. Now here's a video. Let's listen to what she has to say.
Seeing one of these funny looking creatures on your dock, don't panic. Experts say it's normal for them to pop out this time of year. Reagan DeTrolio found out what they were, and she joins us now in the newsroom with more. Reagan.
Francis, they're called bryozoans, and although they might look like...
Now, Reagan looks like she's getting ready to go out dancing. Like, it's so funny, the idiocracy that exists in the world today. But let's listen to what she says real quick.
Jellyfish or a sponge, they're actually living invertebrate creatures that you don't want to harm.
That you don't want to harm. They talk to you like you're a child. Okay, that's why they have that accent. It's a patronizing accent, and it gets your attention. It stimulates something within us that makes us think that we're being spoken to by people of authority, parents, or father figures, or mothers, or whatever. But she said people mistake them for jellyfish and these other things.
We see them in our coves or around our docks.
Okay, so these are starting to pop up all over the place. They're called bryozoans. Now, these are very interesting. This is an omen, I believe. There's certain changes that we see in the animal world, in the animal kingdom, in algae, like we talk about algae and the growth of algae in the oceans and lakes of the world. And we're going to talk more about that in a bit. But what these are, I'm just going to explain. These are creatures that they group up together. Okay, so it's actually a whole bunch of thousands of little tiny creatures. They hold on to one another and they form what looks like some sort of an internal organ that's just floating around in the water, right? These are toxic eaters. They cleanse out the waters. So the more toxicity that exists in the water, the more these will proliferate. You'll see them get bigger and bigger, and they'll just be floating out there in the water. Whenever the water is filled with things like phytoplankton or cyanobacteria, then these start to grow because these will eat the cyanobacteria. These are filters, right? Here's another example right here beside me. Let me jump out of the way, right? I believe these were possibly referenced in antiquity by a famous explorer, a Greek explorer, adventurer, and historian. This particular historian referred to these possibly as sea lungs. There was this explorer that went up to explore and look for a place, a country, a mythic place called Thule, or Thule, you could say, right? Some people also call it Ultima Thule. It's a mythic phantom island or a phantom land, and it's akin to Hyperborea, the Garden of Eden, and whatnot, right? So let's see what he says. Now, this person, their works no longer exist. His name is Pytheas, or you could say Pytheas, right? Right up here you can see the name Pytheas. But although Pytheas's works, we have no surviving records of them, we have many other historians who reference Pytheas's works, especially his works on his oceanic travels. Strabo is one of those, or Strabo. Strabo briefly quotes here, and he says, regarding Pytheas, the matters concerning Thule and those places in which neither was earth in existence by itself, or yet sea nor vapor, but instead a sort of mixture of these similar to a marine lung. Now here's the reference, I believe, in which Pytheas says about this marine lung, or this ocean lung. He says that the earth and the sea and all things together are suspended, and this mixture, as if it were a fetter of the whole existing in a form impassable by foot or ship. The thing is like a lung. Pytheas himself had seen this, but other things that he was told about the world were hearsay, so he heard those from others. But this marine lung, this ocean lung, he saw floating in the water. Not just one, like this, one little one-off example. The entire ocean was covered in these. If it was this, for example, which I believe this is a strong candidate for this ocean lung, if it was this, he came to a part of the ocean where it was blocking the ships. So it's a physical object that was blocking the ships, but it wasn't physical enough so that people could walk on it and just walk across it. They would sink down and it would envelop them, right? It was kind of dangerous to encounter these, basically. Now, also we read of Pytheas. By the way, Pytheas, was born in 350 BC, if you believe the current calendrical system or whatever. 350 BC. In 350 BC, this guy made Arctic exploration visits. He was trying to find the Garden of Eden, in my personal opinion. He's trying to look for Mount Meru and Hyperborea, or Thule also, or Ultimate Thule as it was known. So this is really interesting. There's no reference to him being afraid of falling off the edge of the world. Actually, it referenced him going beyond the known world, or beyond the Pillars of Hercules, so to speak. So 350 BCE. And then if we look down a bit more, in the Greek, we have a statement here. It says, after mentioning the crossing or the navigation from Baris to Teal, which is Thule, Pliny made a brief statement. So this is Pliny, probably the elder, I'm assuming. It says Teal. Well, I'm not going to read it in the Greek, but you can see here this word that I have highlighted, mare concretum. Mare concretum. Mare is the same as Mary, if your name is Mary. It means large body of water. It can be a large lake, it can be an ocean, it can be things of that nature, but it's a large body of water. Concretum sounds exactly like concrete, hard water, concrete water. So many of our modern historians, they assume that he didn't know what ice was. And they're like, oh, this is him describing ice. The ocean was iced over. Okay, all right. I hear that. However, I have a different theory. This goes on to say the mare concretum appears to match Strabo's Pepeguia Thalata, and is probably the same as the places mentioned in Strabo's apparent description of spring drift ice. So this is what they're trying to say. They're trying to say that this concrete ocean was just him not knowing what icebergs or frozen water is. I find that very hard to believe. So I look up the word concrete, which is the root of concretum, and it's where we get our word concrete from. It does mean solid, right? But it comes from Latin concretus, which means condensed, hardened, stiff, but also curdled, congealed, and clotted. Right? So it doesn't have to mean a solid object like concrete once it's in its final form, but more like concrete when it's more of a pasty tartar-like substance, right? It's a thick ocean. It's a thickening of the ocean. So is it possible that he ran across these particular things? Yes, it is. I believe it is. Now, if our oceans continue to develop cyanobacteria, these, like I said, they eat cyanobacteria, and the oceans, when they get warm, or lakes or whatever it may be, when they get a lot warmer, those are perfect living conditions for cyanobacteria, which can change over into red tide, which releases even more toxins into the air, which will go up into the jet stream. And if the ocean starts to turn from the green color that it now is to a red color, then these toxins will be in the air, and it will cause plagues and sicknesses the world across, especially for those who live near the coastlines. But anyways, whenever you see a whole bunch of these popping up, that's nature's way of trying to cleanse it out, right? However, I don't think that's going to do the trick if things keep going as is. Let's move on to the next one. The movement desperately trying to get people to have more babies. Actually, let me check the chat, just make sure we're good. Sometimes I mess up. And I'm not recording, or I don't know. All right, it looks good. Everybody's giving some thumbs up and stuff. All right, so let's check this out. This next article talks about the fertility rates, which I'm going to come back to that. We're going to mention Russia in a bit, and Vladimir Putin and the fertility rates over in Russia specifically. But right now, this says the movement desperately trying to get people to have more babies. It's not only J.D. Vance fixating on childlessness, the pro-natalists explain. So this is all about the pro-natalist movement. Natal is where we get the word nativity, the nativity scene, Jesus being born. Native means born. That's what it means. Excuse me. So it goes on to say in this article, those worried about declining birth rates paint a scary picture of the future as the number of babies dwindles. This is across the world, by the way. This is not just in the United States or just in any one country. It's in most of them. The number of workers will shrink too. There will be fewer people paying taxes to support welfare systems, which will be supporting large elderly populations. The result, they warn, will be economic stagnation and political strife, higher unemployment, more acute labor shortages, diminished investments, fewer innovations, and greater poverty. So these are all some of those implications. I talk about considering the implications all the time whenever we come up with or consider new and innovative theories or prophecies or things that we see, especially omens that are happening in the world. Now, I want to scroll down a bit to this particular part. Now, here's a graph that you can find these all over the internet, where if you just type in graph and then fertility rates, you'll see this graph, the line goes down, okay, and it goes way down. This is just 2020. It's actually lower than that right now. All right, so this says women are postponing this. Listen to the reasons why they believe the fertility rates across the world have dropped so low that countries don't have, they're not making enough babies to sustain their population. This is huge, because if you want to have a country and have control over it, then you need the slaves to live there. You need a population, you need residents. Now, listen to what they say. They will not consider Mother Nature. They will not consider our own actions and stuff. Listen to these excuses as to why the birth rates are falling. Let me make this a little bigger. There we go. Now, it says women are postponing marriage. Marriage. Is there a such thing as marriage in the world today? There used to be a such thing as marriage, but you got to go back a couple hundred years or more for there to even be a real thing called marriage, where two people that love each other and vibe with each other commit themselves to one another, or they just naturally are committed to one another. They don't really need a contract or a paper or anything. They just stay together. Can you believe that? People a long time ago, in the good old days, used to stay together. Kids had moms and dads. Wow. Women are postponing marriage and childbearing later into their reproductive years, and using more effective birth control methods more consistently. Well, that's might have something to do with it. You're constantly telling your body, do not procreate, by putting pills in it and changing your DNA. And then your body stops procreating. Wonder why. Jen and TV. Hey, what's up, Jen and TV? Welcome to my channel. You just got slimed. All right, people are having less sex overall. I'm gonna share a quick little theory I have on that. People are having less sex overall, with some arguing that smartphones and the internet have dominated attention that previously went towards dating and love. Could be. I think there's a lot of smaller things like that contribute to the tearing apart of the family unit, right? And this is all mentioned as planned out in the Silent Weapons for Secret Wars, or Quiet Weapons, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, I believe it was called. Some say people have recognized that smaller families are easier to manage if women want to balance child rearing with careers and other personal pursuits. 200 years ago, having a large family helped out because people were self-sufficient. Your family would just naturally learn farm work and planting seeds in the ground, which produce food forever. Imagine that. And they learned from their parents how to find, clean, drinkable water, or how to purify it or whatnot. They learned values 200 years ago. I'm just using that number randomly. But today people are concerned with getting a job. I don't have time to create in this world. I need to go be a slave and make other people's lives happier, or make other people's lives easier, not mine. Others argue that mental health crisis. There is a mental health crisis. The world is insane. I don't know if I'm allowed to, what words I'm allowed to use these days or whatever, but the world is nuts. Okay, whatever you want to call that. And that's my perspective. It's a limited perspective. I haven't met 8 billion people, but from my limited interactions, if I were to take a poll and just say, of the people I have encountered or seen or witnessed or come in contact with, I'd say I'll put it, it's a high 90s. Okay, it's a high 90 percentile that they're all crazy. I don't know how else to say that, okay? They're insane. The world is delirious. This is my perspective on it and my experience, okay? Either that or I'm delirious and the world's perfectly fine and everything's okay and there's nothing to worry about. I feel like it's one of those too. Michelle Trago has become a member. Welcome, Michelle. High five. Welcome to the Good Vibe Tribe. Now, others argue that mental health crisis has brought more despair about the future. No kidding. And a corresponding unwillingness to bring unconsenting children into an overheating world. That one is probably the closest to all of them so far. People just don't want. It's like you're punishing an unborn child by bringing them into hell. Like, you know, wherever they were before this, let's just suppose reincarnation exists. Wherever those spirits were before this, it's like we're bringing them into the worst possible circumstances. I mean, I get that. Okay. I also can see that it's an honor to live during this time. If you're a good person, if you have a good soul, this is the time we live in where we need the righteous. This is my perspective on it. This is my feelings. I also talk about, I speak from feelings sometimes, right? I feel that the world needs lights in a time of darkness, that those lights are highly appreciated and bring a sense of relief to the anxiety that the rest of the crazy, insane, base, and just debaucherous world comes up with on a daily. Others look to broader doomer narratives about parenting and lament the overly negative messages some media outlets send about raising kids. Okay, well, the only word we need to focus on is media. That tells you everything you need to know, okay? The media doesn't know a damn thing. There's no such thing as investigative journalism, ever. I'm not saying that absolutely. There's always exceptions. But the media, there's no investigative journalism. There's no independent journalists and stuff. I mean, there are. But all of the popular ones have been taken over. Okay, it's not independent people that are sharing things with you. Who is that? Somebody just became a member? Who was that? I don't know. Oh, Michelle. All right, well, welcome to my channel, Michelle. Still others say birth rates are falling primarily because of high costs and point to surveys suggesting people would have more kids if they felt it was easier to afford. I feel like that's a scapegoat. I'm just speaking from the heart. People don't have children based on how much money they have. Children are the fruits of love. Typically 200 years ago they were the fruits of love. Okay, that's how it used to be in the old days. Now they're just accidents and byproducts, and oh no, I have to be responsible. I don't want to be responsible all of a sudden. You kind of have to be an adult to raise a child. Otherwise you just have children raising children, and that leads to idiocracy or more idiocracy. Next up, we've got a space.com article that says Aurora Alert. Aurora Alert, like we talk about all the time. This is a common theme now. The auroras being seen are like, you know, a normal part of the weather. Strong geomagnetic storm. Now let me highlight a word here. Geo. That means Earth, not sun. Not solar magnetic storm or whatever. Strong geomagnetic storm could spark the northern lights at mid-latitudes across the United States and Europe. So like I said, and I'll continue to mention this because this is a huge omen. I'll try to repeat the really big ones, okay? But seeing the northern lights every night on the news and them talking about it all of the time is an anomaly. That's not the way it used to be. That never used to be normal. The northern lights belong in the north. Imagine that. That's why they're called that. They belong around the Arctic Circle. That's their home, okay? When they're down in Mexico, something's wrong. The world is in flux. This article goes on to say, let's see. Oh, there was a woman. Let's see. Timo. Hey, Timo just subscribed. Welcome to my channel, Timo. All right, there's a weather physicist. She made a post on X in a response to something, and she says auroras were spotted as far south as Wyoming in the United States, and she took a picture of it and posted it on that website. Wyoming. You know how far away, like normally auroras are in Canada, Alaska, the area around the Arctic Circle near to it. You know what I mean? That's the furthest out they normally would go if it was a normal, healthy electromagnetic spectrum on our world. You know how far away Wyoming is south from, say, Alaska? 1,500 miles. 1,500 miles. The auroras are way off course. This is a huge omen. And I'm going to come back to the auras, I believe, too. Now, next, let's go to Russia. Russia is suffering epidemic of erectile dysfunction amid crazy Putin's war on Ukraine. So, in Russia, they're suffering an epidemic of erectile dysfunction. They can't get it up in Russia. I'll bet it's not just in Russia. Okay, I'll bet you anything. I know this because here in the United States, I constantly, when I catch commercials, it's almost every single one. There's some sort of, you can get it up again. I mean, like, I don't mean to be too base, and I don't like talking about this kind of sexual stuff or whatever because it just grosses me out. I'm more old-fashioned. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm the type that you can allude to things, but you don't have to just be graphic and talk about them. I think that's just base. Anyways, Russia is suffering an epidemic of erectile dysfunction amid crazy Putin's war on Ukraine. So they're trying to tie in war in Ukraine and all this other stuff. They're trying to blame this war on Ukraine on Russians not being able to get it up, right? Well, let's check out another article. Crazy Putin. Wait, they keep calling him crazy. I don't even care. Crazy Putin blamed for Russia's erectile dysfunction epidemic as birth rates crash. So now they're trying to tie in the birth rates dropping the world across, people not being able to get pregnant, women not being able to conceive, and it was interesting because the article actually talks about how in some places in Russia they were blaming the women. I don't think it. I'm saying Mother Nature stepping in. Okay, humanity was warned. Humanity has been weighed and measured and found wanting. And so Mother Nature, God, however you like to see that higher force of energy that makes the wrong things right again, steps in and says, forget it. I'm taking that privilege away from you. So why can't Russians get it up? Why are people having problems across the world? Maybe they're not turned on. I wonder why they're not turned on. I wonder what's going on in the world, across the world, that would turn people off. There used to be, when I was in high school, when I don't want to, okay, let me say this. When boys are growing up and they see pretty girls and they're in, they're teenagers and stuff, sometimes they need to focus on things that take them away from sexual thoughts. You know what I mean? A long time ago, there were certain things like baseball, or whatever it may be. I'm just saying. Okay, let's move on. Global News Monitoring Edmonton. This guy's talking about the auroras. Listen to what he says about these auroras. This is interesting. Hold on, let me push play here.
And when it gets here, interacts with the magnetic field around the planet, and that can cause aurora to build and strengthen. The more plasma we have coming our way, the more likely we are to see a very strong event, which is what we're hoping to see over the next few days.
So we usually...
Okay, I don't know. Hold on. Let me play that last part because I switched it over to my headphones. And there was a train going past. I live right next to a train track. But let me replay that, just last thing that he said there.
Which is what we're hoping to see over the next few days.
Which is what we're hoping to see. He's saying that the auroras, if it's a really powerful geomagnetic storm, that it'll go way far south, and that's what they're really hoping for because they want to see the beautiful northern lights. Listen, I understand that you want to see the beautiful northern lights. I also think that they're majestic. They're beautiful. This is the glory of the Lord, in my opinion, and it comes from the throne of the Lord and the seat of the Lord, which I believe exists at the North Pole. At Mount Meru, at Rupus Nigra, and the Garden of Eden, and the Tree of Life, etc. But you don't want to hope that this happens if you're not somebody who is an apocalyptimist. If you're not looking at the apocalypse as a good thing, then this is not a sign that you should be hoping for. Freight Train! Hey, Freight Train, 32 months! Hey, high five, Freight Train, good to see you. Alright, cool, I'll see you in the credits. This is not something you should be hoping for. This is a bad omen. When this happens, you get the Carrington effect all over again. This will spread an electricity, just like you saw that electricity and lightning bursting out of the volcano and stuff. This happened already 100 years ago, where it turned on inanimate objects, machines, and telegraph devices and whatnot. And it will electrocute people. This is radiation and electricity in the sky, and if it amplifies, this will start to change our world, and this leads into an apocalypse where the sky becomes electrically amplified. So I'm hoping for it. I do look forward to it because I want to see the apocalypse happen. I can't wait for it to come and fix the world that we live in. But if I imagine that these kind of people on the news and stuff, that they're not apocalyptimists, they're apocalypsimists. All right, let's move on to the next one. Elon Musk said that Tesla robotaxi skeptics, like everything's a skeptic if you don't agree with their opinion these days. Elon Musk says that Tesla robotaxi skeptics should try full self-driving. Okay, and a Wall Street analyst nearly crashed. So there's these, there's all this propaganda in there. Some people don't like Tesla, they don't like the cars, the idea, and they're talking about them possibly crashing and stuff. I can see the good and the bad potential behind the increase in knowledge that we have, just like was spoken of the prophet Daniel in the Old Testament. The increase of knowledge and information going to and fro, people going to and fro. This includes these smart vehicles. I will tell you this, though. If these auroras spread out and they come down and we have another Carrington-like event, then these cars are going to crash. Okay? They're going to drive on their own. Their GPS will be thrown way off base. They're going to drive you with the doors locked, possibly in some instances, into a lake. Okay? It's not good. We did a whole movie breakdown. What was that movie we broke down? Maximum Overdrive, where the cars come to life, right? And they don't have your best interest at heart, right? This is also, these exact cars are shown to you in Leave the World Behind. Whenever they just crashed, they just all went where they weren't supposed to go, and they all crashed and piled up on the freeway and Leave the World Behind. In local news, this is in Florida, blue-green algae alert is issued for Doctors Lake Pace Island, the dock, and the Camp Echocotee. Okay, so this is down in Florida, this huge lake. They're issuing another one of these. This is happening all over the place. It's not just in Florida. This is happening everywhere. This is happening on both coasts of the United States, and I'm sure it's happening in your countries wherever you live too, that there is an increase in these harmful algae blooms, which is cyanobacteria and other forms of algae and microorganisms that give off toxins when they proliferate and they expand and they multiply. And that's happening because the waters are getting warmer, and that's happening because the sun is focusing and it's getting hotter. Did you guys see in my community section? Man, who was that? I can't remember. Hold on, I'm going to go to my channel real quick, and I'm going to share my community post with you. There was this other channel that I like, I'm subscribed to, and he posted this little short about how the sun, so I'm just clicking on the community tab here, about how the sun, here it is, burned his tomatoes right here. Oh, Into Thin Air. That's right. So there's another channel called Into Thin Air. I don't know him or anything, okay? So I'm just saying I like this video. And he posts, there's burn marks on his tomatoes. The night before, it was fine. The next day, the sun comes out. The tomatoes are cooking out on the vine. The sun is getting hotter. This is just insane. Check out my community section for more interesting posts like that. Let's see. Next up, let's move on. Poor Russians. Poor France. Anyways, let's continue on. Where are we? Oh, Jennifer Aniston. Is that the one? Yes. So next up, just real quick, Jennifer Aniston was doing this, movie or whatever about being a newscaster, spellcaster, etc. Somebody came up to her, this guy right here, probably right behind me, and just threw oil all over her. Right now, she should count herself lucky, because if this was the Dark Ages, it would be more than just oil. Okay. It'd be more than that. In the Dark Ages, I feel like that atmosphere was electrically amplified. There were places of power that still carried a strong terrestrial charge of energy that contributed to cellular regeneration. And so people, certain saints and wizards and whatever descriptors you'd like to give to them, people who had power, whether it be from God or whatever, however people wanted to see it, there were powerful people that lived and existed during the Dark Ages that, according to some stories, just couldn't seem to die. And they were rounded up and collected during this change that happened, this energetic change where we shifted from the lights ruling, the Christ, the reign of the kingdom of Christ, just to use a religious reference. Wendy's in the chat and just gifted 5 random memberships to people in the chat right now. Thank you, Wendy. That was super awesome of you. But anyways, my point is, they did stuff like this to people in the Dark Ages, but they didn't stop there, if you know what I mean, right? Another thing is, this is an omen. Oil will burst up out of the ground if the pressure inside of the earth is building, like I believe that it is, and I theorize that it is, and the gases are building up inside due to the radioactive decay. Then we're going to then we should expect to see, I should expect to see, more explosions like the one we saw in Yellowstone. More damn, I always forget that word, but it's when the earth falls and there's a sinkhole. I don't know why I always think that. We'll see more sinkholes, we'll see more explosions, more hydrothermal explosions, more volcanic explosions, but you'll also see more oil being released from the earth, because with that pressure buildup, with all that gas building up, you'll see the oil just starting to come up out of the earth as well. Now let's move on to this next one. Giant 400 million year old. I said that the wrong way. Hold on. A giant 400 million year old scorpion may be a crustacean. I like to emphasize million because that's stupid. That's ridiculous. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't believe in that much time. I don't know. It's fine. People can believe in whatever they want. But the point of this article is they believe this used to be a bug. This is called a giant sea scorpion. This is a scorpion, period, that lived in the ocean. That they have them today. They're called lobsters, in case you didn't know. This is a bug. And this is what this whole article is about. And I like to remind people of the big ones, like I said. A crustacean is a crusty, tiny little, it's an insect, okay, basically. Sea scorpions, or eurypterids, were ancient aquatic creepy crawlies. Arthropods. That means bug. It's a fancy word for insect. With a segmented body, exoskeleton, and jointed limbs that lived an unfathomably long time ago. Let's see. Let me see what else we got here. My point is, these still exist, okay? All that stuff that, people like to eat, your seafood and crap, that's this. This is what you're eating, okay? It says right here, scorpions, like the small land-dwelling lobsters that we have, scorpions probably evolved from a mixopterid-like ancestor by evolving claws and a sting and comb-like sensory pectines on the underside. Now, in layman's terms, all that means is that they think this is a lobster, is an ancient sea scorpion, that those gigantic bugs that adapted to and survived by living in the ocean where humans don't live and many other creatures don't live, and the conditions exist that contribute to gigantism, the main one being buoyancy and weightlessness, that when they come on land, they turn into this. These up here are going to return, okay? Lots of these creepy crawlies, these nasty insectoids. If you decide to risk it and stay in the Southlands during the plasma apocalypse, then you are risking being around gigantic insects and bugs. These types of things that will grow to gigantic sizes. I've been stung by one of these. I stepped on one in California when I lived in Moreno Valley. They hurt. It feels like somebody, and I had a little one sting me, okay? It feels like someone slices you with a razor or something and then just pours lemon juice on it and doesn't stop for like 15, 20 minutes or something. It's not like a bee sting. It's way worse. But anyways, my point is these are gigantic insects. They will return, especially if our atmosphere fills with all of these gases, especially oxygen that's being released from the earth right now and from the ocean water as well. The hotter the ocean water gets, or any water really, the more it releases oxygen. That's why all these fish just float up to the surface and they die en masse. They're suffocating. Russian state TV slips an ominous U.S. threat, this article says. Our Alaska. Now there's this big hoopla, this hoop-de-doo about Alaska. As we have mentioned this before on our Omens segment, that Russia now and then is starting to... I look weird. I don't know why the color's all weird. Russia, I'm not sick or anything. It's just the lighting. Many times, there are certain Russian representatives that are inferring that Alaska belongs to them. It used to belong to the country of Russia. The United States bought it off of them a long time ago, around the Louisiana Purchase, sometime around there. I can't remember exactly. But many Russian representatives keep on alleging that they want it back. Why? Why do they want Alaska back? They have all of Siberia. They have a huge amount of land. I'll tell you why. According to this Time article, it says the coming battle over the Arctic. Now, why would there be a battle over the Arctic? Well, let's think about that in terms of a biblical viewpoint, right? And a more ancient Oblivion viewpoint, I should say. This is a map that was drawn in the Middle Ages by Gerard Mercator. And on this map, and many others like this that were created during the time, there is a circular country, a land, a paradise at the North Pole. Can I touch it? No. That's the North Pole. This is a gigantic plasma volcano, like I first shared with you, the biggest one on Earth. It's called Rupus Nigra, Mount Meru. It goes by many names, and it is the mountain of the gods, or the angels, or the meeting place, etc. And it's right smack in the middle. And these are the walls that surround this heavenly land, this paradise. See how it's a valley? This is a crater in the middle of our world, and it's upturned on the edges like a bowl. It goes down slightly, and then you have all this beautiful, lush land like paradise. And look how close. Sharon, hey, welcome to my channel, Sharon. Look how close. This right here is Alaska. Okay? This is Alaska. This is Russia. Okay? Do you see who are the closest to this land? Well, Greenland is the closest of all of them. Remember back in the day when Trump said that he wanted to buy Greenland? Do you know that right here on the tip of Greenland, right in this exact area, there happened to be an abundance of military bases? Do you know that those military bases are in the middle of digging underground tunnels, possibly under ocean tunnels? Why would they be doing that? Right? Why the interest in Alaska? Look how close this is, and look how close this is. You've got Russia and the United States right here, but look what's between them. Not just this land that sticks out. That doesn't matter because these walls, let me zoom in on this. Hold on, let me teach you guys something here. Check this out. Even if you were here, first of all, you've got all these mountains that are over here. These are basalt columns. These mountain formations are walls that go straight up. These are sheer-faced cliffs that are probably mossy and wet and slippery and stuff. Even if you were here, it's not like you might be able to get to the beach, but then you're not getting over these walls. Okay, that's most people can't. And if you want to bring a whole bunch of people into paradise, you can't go through these walls. That's how it was designed. But you can get through this river system. This river system is broken up into this delta type thing where it's broken into 7 heads. This is the Euphrates River, the biblical Euphrates, right? All 4 of these are the biblical rivers of Eden. This is the Euphrates. In the Bible, it says it was broken into 7 heads and it will be again. It's broken up into that many because this is where the water, this is the lowest, this is the river in paradise that's the lowest. That doesn't rush as fast as the other ones. Like this one right here is fast. This is the Tigris. This is the fastest of all of the rivers. And it has a current that's just really fast. But you see how there's like land in between all of these? You can enter into paradise during the correct times right here. And they want this positioning. They want to be able to be here and here so that they can get into paradise whenever the doors open. Or as it says in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, chapter 16, and the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings of the east. Let that just marinate for a little bit as you consider and compare and contrast ancient maps where land has been taken off of those maps, right? In our modern maps. Next up, Donald Trump with a photo without his ear bandage raises some eyebrows. Check this out.
Please welcome the next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
I don't even care. Like I don't do all that religious. I mean, I don't do all that fervor and excitement and people. Oh my God, it's a person. Oh my God, it's a person. Oh, that's my person. I'm gonna live vicariously through. I don't do all that. But apparently there was a photographer. Let me see if I can find his name. The photographer. Where is it? It's up here somewhere. But this guy took a picture of Trump without the ear bandage just recently. It says here, a photo of Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump taken on Saturday without his ear bandage has sparked a wave of speculation. The image, which was taken by a man named Alex Brandon of the Associated Press on July 27th and shared by the photojournalist named Pete Souza on X. I hate that they do that. Like, everybody knows what it is. Shows Trump walking up an airplane staircase with an apparently fully healed ear. Just weeks after that whole deal went on. You want to see what it looks like here? This is the alleged picture. Okay, I'm just going to show you what they're posting here on the old internet. Fopow. Can I make it bigger? I'm going to try to make it as big as I possibly can. Where is it? It's weird because I got to like catch up. Hold on. Where's that picture? Oh, there it is. I think that's probably as big as you can look at this on the internet yourself. Okay. But as you can see, and then I guess they fired that guy. Did they fire that dude? What happened to this dude that posted this picture? His profile, which had over 200,000 followers, now reads, "This account does not exist. Try searching for another." I think that's hilarious. Implying that it has been deleted or deactivated. If he had been banned, it would have read account suspended. So there's that. I find that to be extremely interesting. Now check this little picture out, right? There's this article about robots, humanoid robots. This company called NVIDIA accelerates humanoid robot development. And they show you in the image that there's a guy in the background right behind me here. And he's wearing these VR headset and he's moving the robot. He's living vicariously through the robot. So it's like he's the robot making toast, but he's really some Asian dude over here in a sweatsuit, right? Now, I don't want to read this whole article, but I talk about the truth in movies and how they share with us. They prophesy, man. There's nothing new under the sun. So therefore, any creative movie that's created is a retelling of ancient history or prophetic in nature, one of the two. If there's nothing new under the sun. There's a movie called Surrogates, and there's many out there like this, where the people do the exact same thing. In the future, all of these robots are created, humanoid robots, and there's so many that, you know, it's like everyone on Earth has their own little humanoid robot. Well, many people in the future had this option, like they have packages for these options, or options with these packages for these robots, that they can in the future, which is almost right now, they can not just make them look robotic, but they can put skin on them, muscle tissue, and therefore they can design these robots to look like you. You can have a robot that you just put on your little VR headset, and then a younger, prettier, more handsome, stronger version of you goes out into the world. Meanwhile, some person at home in the trailer park with a beer belly eating Cheetos, I don't know, has a VR headset, and they're laying back and they're just like living vicariously through a machine. I mean, they're already trying to, with the subject of transhumanism and things of that nature, they're putting chips into people. They're trying to merge human and machine. And then they're trying to make the machines more human-like. Last time we talked about how Elon Musk, they believe he has a goal of creating one humanoid robot, one of these, for every person on Earth. I feel like that's achievable given our increasing technological prowess these days. But this is what's happening. We're like okay with just being replaced with machine versions of ourselves. Now, the next thing that they will do, I'll tell you right now, this also goes back to Altered Carbon. I don't know if you guys have seen this TV show called Altered Carbon, but in this show, Altered Carbon, they have the exact same type of thing. But all of your memories, because they put a chip into people's brain, or they put it on the nape of your neck, on like the bottom of your brain, they put this chip in there, and the chip records every memory you've ever had, even like subconscious stuff and stuff. So they record all your memories, which is akin in this presentation called Altered Carbon. It's akin to your consciousness, which conscious means is two words: with science, with knowledge. So they take all your knowledge or information or memories or whatever, they record it onto a chip, very much like Elon's doing. And then once they have these robots and they roll out these robots, when you're on your deathbed or you feel like you're going to die or you're too old and you just want to live in the robot body, they take that chip that has all your memories stored and they just plug it into one of these bad boys. And then you come alive in this robot body. It's getting weird, man. Now, speaking of AI and weird stuff, I wanted to share something with you. There is a Chinese company called Kling, and they create many things, but one of them is artificial intelligence videos. This right here, I signed up for it. This is a picture that I prompted through this other program. It's just a still image. I prompted this picture. I was trying to make like a Van Gogh version of like Mount Meru and Paradise and things like that. I put that picture into Kling AI and I told it to make a video of it, and it does this. This is very, very Harry Potter like. You know how like in Harry Potter they have the moving pictures and they basically have artificial intelligence in the pictures themselves and stuff. So I thought I would have some fun with this, and I'm going to take one prompt from you guys. Okay, I'll show you a couple of them that I've made here. So I've I made one of the sky cracking open right here. You can see that the sky sort of, I'm trying to make like the Plasma Apocalypse movie. All right, so there's that one. Where did I have that? Let's see. And then it does well with some things and not well with other things. This is like a picture that I prompted with these elves looking down from like the top of the firmament, and they're looking at the Garden of Eden, or Hyperborea right down there. And then I made another one. This one's kind of weird. This is my jelly. I just wanted to animate my jellyfish, and I was it's doing weird stuff there. It looks like a goofy version of it. But anyways, let's prompt one together. That's what I'm going to do with you guys. If we'll see how long it takes. I don't know. Let's go to AI videos, and I will take the very first prompt I see. We're going to do text to video. I've never done this before, and I'm going to take a prompt from you guys in the chat. I'm going to look for my members first, or like super chats and stuff, and then if I don't see anything from members or super chats, then I'll just take a random one from the audience out of my. I'm looking for the chat right now. Where is my chat? Oh, here I'm just going to pull it up over here, I guess. All right, boom. Oh, the snap. Hold on. The chat has to catch up. This is what it does. Like whenever I say, hey, the chat is skipping, that's what it does. Hey, I got a super chat from Billy Higgs. Thank you, Billy. Says, they say an original is always worth more than a counterfeit. That's why I love you, bro. You're an OG, 100%, truly independent individual with the soul unlike many of your detractors. Stay true to you. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I appreciate it. And thank you for your support. Now, anybody, give me a prompt. Tell me what to tell the AI to make a video of. And I'm going to test it out right now, just live on the spot. Then we'll wrap things up after that. It'll probably take a couple of minutes, so we'll just recap while it makes a video. I'm going to pick a prompt out of here. Let me see if I can see some prompts. Anybody give me an idea? Who knew jellyfish had teeth? Yes, right? Let's see. All right, so I know you guys are going to take a few seconds to catch up, so I'll just close my eyes or whatever. I'm going to look up in just a minute just to give everyone a fair chance. I actually had a segment. I might bring it back. I don't know, but I've been super busy lately. Called Masterpiece Mad Libs, where I did very similar stuff. I didn't get into actually making AI videos. I would just go in and animate the pictures that we made afterwards. But it was really fun. All right, cool. Let's see. I'm jumping into the chat. We've got Lala Intuitive, who says a tree of life blooming with flowers. 3score9, who won one of our Masterpiece Mad Libs round, I believe. A titanic shining armored elephant bursting out of the earth. Heaving poodles. Ew. Tiamat, Mike Tyson fighting a pigeon. Dragonfly apocalypse. I got another donation from Akith the goat. Akith goat. Thank you. Hey, that was super nice of you. I appreciate it. And I like your little picture there. All right. I'm going to go back up. And like I said, I'm going to take one from one of my members in the chat here. Who was, let's see, we got, what did we have? I'm just trying to find one here. Oh, here we go. We've got the Tree of Life blooming with flowers from Lala Intuitive. So the Tree of Life blooming with flowers. And then what else do we have here? The Tree of Life blooming with flowers. And then a titanic shining armored elephant bursting out of the earth. A tree of life blooming with flowers while an armored elephant bursts out of the earth. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try both of those. All right. A tree of life blooms flowers while an armored elephant bursts out of the earth. Okay, I just took two people's. Just, two of my members here. I'm going to generate that. And I'm not going to mess with any of the little, there's all these options that you have to do like different camera angles. And you can actually make the camera like pan in, pan out, move left and right. And it's almost kind of like realistic, like a Hollywood. It's at 10% right now. You see that? No, you can't see it. Well, trust me, it's at 10. It's at 13 now. So it's actually going pretty fast. So I'm going to give this some time. I'm going to recap what we've covered so far, and then we're going to see what kind of a video it generates. Just off the cuff, just prompting the AI. This might be helpful for me because, I reference a lot of movies and stuff so that people can imagine what the plasma apocalypse will be like. But if I can just prompt it and design it and create it and tell AI to make a video to recreate the plasma apocalypse, that would be awesome. And if you do that, share it with me. Go to my Omens on my website and share that with me because I would love to see what you guys make. They have a free plan right now too. So they give you 66 credits, I think. A lot of sixes today. 66 credits every day. It refreshes. If you don't use your credits, you lose them. Right? So up here it says I've got like 56 left because it costed 10. So they give you 66 every day. It costs like 10 to make a 5-second video or whatever. Pretty soon they're going to make it so you can make a 10-second video. They're also going to enable you to extend any videos you've already made and make them longer. And then they have plans now. So they have membership plans now as well. So you can pay for the plans and you can make all the videos you want to. All right, let's recap what we've talked about today. We've talked about the possible marine lung, the ocean lung, that was referenced, I believe, that was talked about a long time ago. These things eat cyanobacteria, and they're saying on the news that they're seeing them pop up more and more. I believe they were referenced by Pytheas, the ancient Greek explorer. Strabo quotes him and talks about how he encountered these strange marine lungs. And then we went from there and we talked about let's see what was next up on the list. Oh yes, so the fertility rates dropping across the world. That's happening right now. People are starting to respond. It's going to become just like it was in the movies, just like the Children of Men. That's a good one. The Children of Men and The Handmaid's Tale. Man, I can't, if you're interested in this whole population fertility rates dropping thing, check those two out. If you want to watch a movie, watch the Children of Men. If you want to watch a good series about it and you don't mind all the graphic, clearly they have to show you people having sex. If you don't mind that, then watch The Handmaid's Tale, which is also just a damn good story. The auroras creeping their way south, and we talked about and compared that to what happened over 100 years ago, where the same thing happened and machines turned on by themselves. We talked about Russia having erectile dysfunction for some reason that nobody can understand why. We talked about the auroras again. We talked about the Teslas and how these self-driving cars are going to do their own thing the next time we have a Carrington event, or an event that's like that, where the auroras creep on south and the electricity amplifies in the atmosphere. We talked about plasma volcanoes. We talked about the blue-green algae, harmful algae blooms once more. As a reminder, we talked about the omen to watch out for, which is oil erupting out of the earth more and more due to the buildup of pressure and the gases that are being created. We talked about gigantic bugs and how people across the world love to put butter on that and eat it. I don't, but you have fun with that. That's fine. We talked about Russia and why it possibly wants to take over the Arctic Circle and Alaska. And we talked about how to actually get in and why they're interested in this particular portion of land as opposed to Canada or, these other portions. If you're a 21 Pilots fan, by the way, Dima is located right here. You see how there's like those walls I was telling you about? Well, there's on this map, you can see there's a little beach. There's a portion of land right here. This is a large portion of land too, right? But these are the walls of paradise that people can't get across until the time comes. We talked about biblical prophecies. We talked about the photograph that people are taking of Trump's ear and what's going on with that. We talked about surrogates and people being plugged into machines and machines becoming people and people living vicariously through actual physical robots that are out there in the real world. That's also, check this movie out if you're interested in that too. What else? Oh, and then that brings us to our video here. We're at 81%. So I'm going to let this finish up. I don't think you can see. Here, let me zoom in on this. Does it say? Here, I'll show you the ones I already made just to waste some time. All right, so let's check these out. Let's see. Can I make that bigger? Ooh, no. It doesn't like that. Let's see. Let me go back to my little examples. I'll probably make a whole bunch of these because I have fun. I'm not an artist per se, but the artist side of me enjoys this kind of stuff. Oh, here we go. It is done. So it just finished our video. Let's check this out. Hold on. Let me get back to the way I can show it to you guys. All right. So this is the video it made. It looks like it's got it in front of a green screen for some reason. So we prompted it with a tree of life, blooming flowers, and an armored elephant bursting out of the earth. Meh, not bad. I'm sure I could probably fine-tune that with some more prompting and whatnot. Yeah, it wasn't super specific or anything, so it had to fill in and guess on the background. It's interesting that it chose a completely green screen background. And I have a green screen right behind me. That's interesting. Wonder what's going on there. I don't know. Maybe it knows more than it should. But I had a great time on this episode of Omens, 999 videos. Stay tuned for our 1000th video. Coming up on 100,000 subscribers. I'm honored. I can't believe it. It's amazing. And thank you all for your support. Check out my website, JayDreamerZ.com. Check out my books, Ancient Oblivion, The Plasma Apocalypse, and Ancient Oblivion, Return to Hyperborea. I will be sending out books to those who pre-ordered with autographs and merch and all the things that I had promised beforehand. I'm ordering all of those books in bulk. I've got about 30 orders, I believe, 30 different orders that I'm going to be sending out and fulfilling here pretty soon within the next month. So I'll keep you guys abreast on that. I also want to give a huge shout out to those who joined my website recently. And some people even had a special. I had a special, a sale on my website. And some people have lifetime memberships now because of this sale. Let's see, where is it? Here we go. Rebecca Hakel, Lynette Norton, Amberson A. Cat, Hayden Molnar, Megan Larson, Casey Jacobson, Ashley Roberts. I want to say a special thank you to all of you who jumped on my sale. Keep an eye out. If I ever have a sale like that, it'll just be a random flash sale. I'll put it into the comments. I mean, not the comments. I'll put it into the community section. Go have fun in my community section. There's lots of fun stuff that's been posted lately. All right, I'm going to wrap things up. Until next time, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.